So today we're going to be talking about the latest announcements from the Google I/O event yesterday. Some massive announcements in terms of the search, how search is going to change, how AI is going to be implemented into search, plus the updates on Gemini as well. If you're into SEO, this is probably going to be a bit of a game changer for you. Maybe not in a good way, but we'll come on to that in a second. And we've got Kazra here on the call as well.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, if you're not familiar yet, I'm going to share my screen now and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. But essentially, Google have announced, you can see this has been announced by Liz Reed, who's the new VP of Google Search, just got announced this year. And you can see this blog was posted yesterday. Basically, Google are releasing generative AI into search, which I don't think is anything new. We've talked a lot about SG and search generative experience and how that's coming into search. But this is being pushed even more than ever. And it's pretty crazy to see. For example, if you look at this preview of Search Generative Experience and how it looks, there's not really any blue links to websites unless you scroll down. And then if you do scroll down, it's mostly sponsored, mostly links to like websites like Cure and stuff like that. What's your initial impression about that, Kazra?
So I've got some numbers, and this is from a guy that's just analyzed all the SG and stuff. But only 14% of queries at the minute right now return SG automatically. So I don't know if that's going to expand in time, but one thing I will say is that they are obviously still trying to pass more clicks and stuff through to websites. It's like the featured snippets when people thought featured snippets was just going to steal all of their traffic. But in reality, if you actually started ranking for featured snippets, you actually got still a decent amount of traffic going through to your website. I can see it being quite similar to something like that.
It's quite an interesting one because basically what they're saying right now is that a few people have had access to it in beta, but they've actually found that people are using search more when they're using AI, right? And so the plan this year is to bring it to hundreds of millions of users, and they're basically rolling it out to the US and also other countries. But essentially, they're focusing on bringing AI search to over 1 billion people by the end of the year. When you look at the preview, though, if you look at this example search,
Mhm.
and we'll wait for this to load to reset. So if we look at this search and someone is on mobile, they type in like, how do you clean a fabric sofa? It's quite interesting because when you look at that, there's no blue links right here, right?
No, there's not.
And then there's a link, cheeky little link to Cura, and you have to scroll
Yeah.
to the side to get access. But it's pretty crazy, huh?
So one thing that's actually quite interesting is how do you clean a fabric sofa? Then you've obviously got the AI answer, but look at the last full stop on the answer. It looks like they've also been a little bit cheeky there, but they've also tried to expand it by default. I don't know if that's by default expanded showing the links, or you actually need to physically click that to then show the free pack. So that'll be quite interesting because that will determine if you get a lot of clicks or not as many clicks.
The other thing I think is if you look at the real estate that sponsored ads have,
Mhm.
they get a much bigger amount of real estate now, right? When you look at how they show up on the page versus say the organic.
Yeah, definitely. It does look like they are trying to put because that's not like a buyer intent focused keyword either. Like, how do you clean? That's more educational. So it does look like they are pushing PPC or sponsored in educational style keywords as well.
Yeah, the I know James has talked about this, James Dooley, a few times, where basically it's quite smart because they can take really like top of the funnel keywords, which are quite informational in general, and then because it'll keep going, like you can keep clicking on more questions, more answers, etc., and then it brings people down to the bottom of the funnel towards buying in a quicker way. So instead of that taking maybe like 3 days, they're going to take people towards buying maybe within 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
Spe-
it is smart what they've done there. You can't deny it.
If it was you, how would you prepare your website for something like that?
I would, first of all, just looking at like a variety of different SGE, I would be doing like multimedia. I wouldn't just be focused on content because right now they are, yes, they are able to generate their own AI snippets, but right now it doesn't look like they're able to generate their own AI videos or reels and stuff. So if you can make your multimedia on your website, then that will help, because then you're still being able to drive unique clicks through to your website. But then not only that, is we've covered this before in our topical map videos, where I have quite a unique approach where I like to do keyword research for top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and also bottom of the funnel, which is exactly what Google's essentially doing there with SGE. So you're covering your own content as well by doing keyword research and funneling it in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing I think is that if you're not building backlinks right now, it's pretty much game over.
Yeah.
Because, for example, before you might get like a spot in the top 10 as a DR0, especially for very low competition keywords. But if you type in pretty much any search phrase, any keyword within Search Generative Experience now, it's just like no DR0s ranking. I'll show you an example, right? So if we look at what is SEO and we look at who's ranking for this particular keyword, it will link out to two different pages. But these are like massive brands like Digital Marketing Institute. I don't think you're going to find your DR0s, your DR5s ranking in the top two for any particular keyword.
No, it does look like Google has not even with just SG, but just over the past like 8 months, it definitely has went with authoritative websites. So if you can start building authoritative backlinks to help essentially instill trust to your website, that will definitely help.
And the other thing is that what's ranking inside of Search Generative Experience is quite different to the organic listings. If you look at who's number one in SG
Mhm.
versus who's number one in organic, it's totally different. Like, for example, you can see Digital Marketing Institute ranking there. But if you scroll down to the first page here, you'll see Search Engine Land, SEMrush, and Moz ranking top three. Now, they're not even top three within SG. Totally different
Yeah,
algorithm.
it will be interesting to figure out how you can do SEO for SG, because it again it's like when people ask me about Google News is a completely different algorithm to Google Search as well. So yeah, we will definitely figure out over time.
There's some cool stuff look going on. For example, if you check out, and I don't know who's going to use this, it might be like 1% of searches or something like that. Maybe not even that. You can actually take a video and then search with that video inside like this. So you would take a video with Google Lens. You can even record some voice in there, and then it will actually search Google with that video.
Ah, that's quite interesting.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. It
I
said
don't,
I identified the product, which is quite cool, and I'm guessing they'll probably have sponsored ads to trying to sell you the product, right?
yeah, that's true. It's crazy, man. Crazy stuff right there. The other thing that I saw is that Gemini has been updated now. So
Yep.
Gemini has been upgraded, I think, to 1.5. They've got a big announcement, and we're going to do a video soon this week on comparing the new ChatGPT 4.0 versus the Gemini update. So that's going to be quite interesting. One final thing I wanted to touch on before we go any further is that a lot of people are quite worried right now, and I'm interested to hear your take, Azra. Like, Google potentially will send less clicks. People spend longer on Google searching, but at the same time, Google's data, when it's generating these responses, is trained on other publishers' websites, and that's how
Yeah.
it's generating the responses. What's your take on that?
I think that it was always gonna happen. Right now, it does seem like it is a battle of the AIs. Obviously, you've got your Microsoft there with ChatGPT. You've got Google with Gemini, and I also believe China is creating their own AI. So at some point, if they didn't innovate, Google probably would have died off, if that makes sense. So, for example, you look at some of the big search engines back in the day, like your Yahoos and stuff. The reason why they essentially died off and went bust is because they didn't keep up with the latest trends. Now, although people might be a little bit annoyed or pissed off by Google because they've scraped their website, they've got their content, and they might be displaying it, is what is needed to have been done for them to thrive as a business. Now, is it the right thing? Is it not the right thing? that's probably a different argument. But as a business and for them to stay as the number one search engine, it's probably one of the things that they had to do going forward. What do you think?
I think that's a really good point, actually. If they don't keep adapting, it's just a matter of time, I think, before, say, OpenAI releases their own search engine. Because, for example, if they're releasing ChatGPT 4.0, which is twice as fast and 50% cheaper than the previous AI models, and it's completely free to the rest of the world, it's only a matter of time before they release their own search engine. So, yeah, I think Google does need to catch up also. They're smart. Like, it's going to make them more money for sure. If you keep people longer on the search engine and you take them from top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel quicker, then they're going to make more money with the Google ads.
Yeah, I've said this before. Google's sole purpose as a service provider is bringing the best set of results back to the user. Now, obviously, we can argue saying, is Forbes and Reddit the best results? Probably not at the minute, which is probably why they are tweaking certain things. But they would have done like a data research to say, is SG good or not? That's probably why they put it into beta mode to get that data. And from that data, they will create like a good user experience. Now, I think that in time, if say for example, if you were to search, let's say SEMrush, what is it? What is SEO, right? And right now, let's say without SG, SEMrush ranks number one, but with SG, it doesn't rank there. And over time, they will get that data to say, yes, SEMrush was providing a good user experience to our users. Let's place them number one in NSG. It's not like they're going to steal all of your clicks, but they will probably. We are probably in a pivoting stage where Google's probably going to be testing out different sites and trying to figure out what's bringing the best user experience, what's not. And it'll reward the websites that do bring a good user experience, and it'll obviously take the sites that don't bring a good user experience down, which is, to be honest, that's been SEO since day one.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I do think the YouTube SEO is still a massive opportunity right now because if you look at some of the case studies, YouTube is typically the website that does the best after SG. I think it's like one of the top three most benefiting websites. And then additionally, after every update as well, if you look at the helpful content update, if you look at the March update, YouTube gets pushed more and more. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that AI just can't replace right now. So if you look at particular like how to keywords, for example, like how to build a topical map, typically it's videos that rank really well inside search generative experience.
Yeah, that is true. It's like the reason why I always say use multimedia is the fact that there's sometimes it does pull in shorts and videos and stuff like that. So again, you're diversifying your traffic sources as well doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Anything else before we go?
No, that's it. I
All
think we've
right.
covered it.
Thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to my free SEO course, links inside the comments and description. That comes with a search generative experience SOP showing exactly how I rank using SG and ranking within the AI results with proof. And if you want to get a free SEO strategy session, feel free to book that in. Links in the comments and description. And you can book in a free SEO strategy session. We'll answer any questions you have on the call. We'll build you a link building game plan. I think backlinks are just going to be more important than ever. You're not going to find DR0's ranking anymore. So it's game over. You might as well shut down your website if you're not building backlinks.
True.
All right. Controversial. Cheers then.
Thanks.